let's get into the thing that is on your mind, and it is not the way that the games are starting necessarily that has you aggravated. It is the way that the first halves are ending.
Yes, I think all week long everyone talked about Nick Sirianni, mainly because he seems to be degrading into insanity with the shaved head and the way he's acting and everything. But the real thing that sparked the criticism of the head coach more than anything else in this game was the end of half sequence, right? And part of the reason is because this was not the first time. In fact, the Eagles have now had the ball at the end of the first half in 3 of the 5 games. Thankfully, in the other 2, the other team had it. And the way it's gone, every single one of them had the exact same thing happen. The Eagles completed a pass in the middle of the field with around 1 minute left. Again, this happened 3 times. This happened in Brazil, this happened in New Orleans, and it happened in this last game against Cleveland. And in all 3 of them, the Eagles had timeouts to spare and did not call timeout, let the clock run down from 1 minute down to like around 35 seconds. This happened in all 3 of them. And then had to frantically rush on the rest of the plays. It led to having to settle for a field goal in Brazil, where they just ran out of time because they didn't call timeout. They had timeouts in their pocket, and they just ran out of time. The infamous 4th and 1 fake tush push in New Orleans doesn't happen if they don't let the clock run down from 58 to 34 for no reason on the catch, like just 2 plays before it or whatever it was. And now the blocked field goal that led to the touchdown. So the results have been getting progressively worse, having to settle for 3, not scoring at all, and now just letting the other team score. And it's like the punishment is getting worse, but the crime is the same every time. It's not calling timeout in that situation. And then we had the end of game fiasco in Atlanta, which I've already ranted about. So that's 4 out of 5 games now where Nick Sirianni is completely messed up, either an end of half or an end of game clock management situation. The only one that he didn't mess up was Tampa Bay, and that's because he didn't get the chance. Tampa Bay had the ball at the end of the half, and then it was a blowout, so there was no end of game. So, I mean, if this is all Nick Sirianni does, he has to do better, and it's driving me crazy that this same thing keeps happening. And for all the talk of learning from your mistakes and like not repeating the same mistakes and all that kind of stuff, it's precisely the same mistake. Call timeout if there's a minute left, and you catch the ball in the middle of the field and get everybody settled. I mean, you don't have the luxury there to waste so much time.
Yeah, I think his rationale here, or at least what I would anticipate his rationale being, is somewhat flawed in that because it hasn't come to fruition here. He's really into not giving the ball back.
Oh yeah, you don't want to give it to Deshaun Watson with 30 seconds left.
So he doesn't want to do that. So what? And so you're at the middle of the field there. If you call timeout with a minute to go, right? And
getting
then
too cute, like I did on Swooper yesterday.
Yeah. So then you're in a situation where if you don't get the first, you're giving them the ball with a chance to drive. So he tends to like to wait for the 30 seconds there. But I agree. Like A, it hasn't worked out. B, you have plays like Saquon, short of the sticks this week, right? And it just screws up that whole plan, if you will. So I agree. It's a flawed plan. It's a flawed plan because it hasn't worked, and I think the sample size is large enough there. A matter of fact, you might be able to make an argument that if you score quickly, you could potentially get the ball back. Like if you have an explosive there from midfield, you have timeouts for them on defense, and you can potentially get the ball back. But besides the point, besides that, I think he tries to bring it under 30 seconds, preserve his timeouts for a few quick plays before the half, because he is like obsessed with this concept of trying to score before the half and getting the ball out of the half, even though they weren't getting the ball out of the half last week.
And whether you're getting the ball out of the half shouldn't matter. I mean, the coaches talk about that, and it should have nothing to do with the decision making at the end of the half. But whatever.
We all silly like the mayor.